Good evening, all you awesome people here on planet Earth. My name is Scott Schertzen, alongside Mr. JT McGuire, Mr. Robert Leckington, Mr. Ryan O'Regan, and also in audio only, special guest Kristian Comer. And welcome to Tales from the Film Set here on Zingo TV, channel 250 and 249. Make sure to download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of iOS and Android. When you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free, and they want to hear from you. Zingo TV, by the way, is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire Sticks, Roku Sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward, so long as they're plugged in. If they're not plugged in, they're just basically a large paperweight. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well tonight. We are basically breaking down animation and talking about the new movie that just came out, Turning Red. Alongside us, basically not just the four of us, but as I had mentioned previously, we have calling in Miss Kristian Comer, indie film director, charismatic host, and also at this point, talking a little bit about animation. Young Ms., how you doing up there?
Yay, awesome. Thank you for having me on.
Good to hear you.
Our first audio guest. That's
yes. So it's
we're breaking ground here. I like that.
Yes. So all this pressure is going to be on you as the first audio guest. I think you got it though. We're going to see though. But we want to talk a little bit about animation, break down a little bit about who it's geared to. Obviously, when I was a kid, a lot of us were kids, animation had a very, very different connotation than it does now. It has a little bit more respectability, I think, in some cases. But I'm curious, basically, for you guys right now, talk a little bit about that. Kristian, obviously, want to talk about some of the stuff you've got going on. But gentlemen, how you doing?
Pretty good. I just realized the YouTube in my living room was playing the live feed. So if there's any crossover, that's on me, because apparently my television wants to watch you just as much as I do. So that's always a good thing.
So this is like basically on the radio. It's like, sir, please turn down your radio.
Yeah. It was like that little bit of delay. It stopped after your intro. So it just pretty much wanted to drown you out, Scott. The rest of us will be fine.
Can't blame it. So but you guys doing good?
Doing well.
So,
Rob?
Outside of that,
doing well.
I pass it right to you, Rob.
Doing well.
Good. Let me start this off. Kristian, basically at this point, nobody I think that's listening in or watching this anywhere on planet Earth knows much about you, but we're going to try and correct that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and basically what you got going on.
Sure. So I am an independent filmmaker, actor, director, producer. I'm taking this really big step forward and doing like a season of Shakespeare, and the beginning of our season we're doing like a bunch of animation. So I'm really excited, being a fan of animation, growing up on it, Japanese anime, Disney, huge parts of my life. So just being able to like do this, like my first animation is just like so amazing. Like every day I go to work, I'm like smiling.
Nice.
So now me and Scott had worked on with you previously on a live action film. What ended up turning your attention from doing live action work to animation?
So it's two things. I've always wanted to do animation. Like I said, growing up, loving animation. So eventually I knew I wanted to do one, but it just happened a lot faster with COVID because of everything that was happening in filmmaking, the different roles and stuff like that. And it's really hard to do filmmaking independently on a budget and then like add COVID restrictions on top of it. It's especially if you need to use SAG actors, it's a lot to time, it's a lot to unpack. And like I also was really nervous and but I wanted to make sure my crew and my actors were okay. I didn't want anyone to get sick. So it was like, okay, so what's the logical jump to go from here? Because I still want to make art. I still want to work with amazing people. It was just like, hey, why don't you just, jump into animation? I mean, you always wanted to do it. Now's the time to do it. So it was kind of like a double sign. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm taking my first step. And like my first film that I'm doing, it's inspired by Shakespeare, but it's not totally Shakespeare. It's called The Promise. It is a paper animation. So it's really cool. I'm really excited about that. And then like we have other films after that, and we're doing different types of animation all together. So it's pretty cool.
So
now you could say you were drawn to it. Someone had to say it. I'm sorry.
If I was in the same room, I'd throw something at you.
It's okay. We'll throw it directly.
Hold on.
But I mean, in this case, basically, you talk about paper animation. Now, when you're referring to paper animation, I think arguably one of the things that people think about most maybe is South Park. Now, what in their case basically defines, in your mind's paper animation?
So it's not exactly like South Park, but it does have a lot of elements for it, where it has the stop motion animation. It's pretty much right now we're like actually starting the magic part of it, so we're starting to bring our characters to life. So it's pretty much like the same stuff, but it's just a different, I guess, flavor to it, like a different kind of style to it. But otherwise than that, it's kind of forged like that with the stop animation, stop motion.
24 frames a second?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. 24 frames a second, obviously better than 60 in this case, but that's still a massive undertaking.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to throw in a lot of artists. One of my good friends, Holly, her mom's she was very much into art, and she went back to college when I started doing like my first films and stuff like that. And like we used to talk all the time, and she's like, I want to be in one of your films so bad. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And like she was in one of my shorts, live actions, and then she's like, I want to do a feature so bad with you. And like we would talk about like our different animations, because we were both like really influenced by it. But she was more influenced by like stop animation and stuff like that. And then I decided like, yeah, we should definitely team up. And from there, like I wrote the promise and I showed it to her, and she's like, oh my god, this would be so good with like paper animation. I could totally see it. And then like she sat down and we like went over it, and then we just decided, okay, this is gonna be paper animation. This is what we're gonna do, and the rest is like history.
Now, one of the things that we wanted to discuss tonight with animation is, I guess, who the audience is for animation these days, because for many years there was the stigmatism that it was mostly for kids. Do you think that's still true today, or do you think it's expanded?
Okay, so I think it definitely expanded. I think in American culture it was definitely aimed towards children for sure. But I think in different cultures, like, in Japan and stuff like that, it was definitely aimed for more than kids. And like in Europe too, I would say there's a lot of animation when we were kids that are actually kind of like adult theme-ish. But I'm very happy over in America that we're getting away from that, and like it's opening more to everyone.
Bit by bit, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just gonna say to open up to everyone here. What does everyone else on the panel think?
Well, yeah, for me,
I think it would be. Yeah, no, I think that animation is great. I mean, I grew up watching, older animation. Obviously, I mean, being a little bit older than you guys, I had a question. Like when you're doing like these stop motion type scenes and things like that, I would assume that they take forever in setting up. And how long does a stop animation scene take to do? That'd be a question I would like to ask.
It depends on the scene, but it does take a while, and it does take like a lot of different we call them masks, like different emotion masks. So like how you move it and stuff like that. I have seen her do scenes where it took her like, I'm gonna say like an hour to 2 hours, and I've also seen her take like a scene that took her like about 7 to 8 hours. So it depends on like what you're trying to accomplish at that, and like what type of emotion you're trying to emote out, because it's I think that's the hardest part, trying to get the emotion to emote out of paper and like move it just right where it's not too much like that magical spot. Right. So like I think that's the hardest part overall with it.
Gotcha.
You always hear about like certain Disney animated feature films. Those things are like set up 4 years in advance from when we actually get to even see the first trailer. So it's pretty much all the animation time is taken up in that. I remember someone saying that for a single second, like the 24 things I've seen, would probably take about a good half hour. just because, you know, shot, change. I can only imagine how long it takes just to do like paper animation. Because have you wanted to do other animation? Like, is this going to spur you on to maybe go into like CGI or traditional hand drawn, maybe more figurine based stop motion, kind of like Leica? Are there anything other ones that you would want to dip your toe into?
Definitely. So this is our first one. Our second one is called Dogberry's Lament, and that's literally taking a scene from William Shakespeare. It's taking the "You Are an Ass" scene from Much Ado About Nothing. It's like a comical scene. And we're taking that and we're putting it into a fighting video game. So we're trying to, like, overall, we're trying to get like a new audience to Shakespeare with like our different films, and this one is geared towards obviously gamers. So we're gonna have like pixel animation, and then like there's another scene in it that like where we have this like video game play out and everything like that. Like this person's playing this video game, and then they get taken to like the scene where we have this like this fight between Dogberry and Conrad, and it's heavily inspired on Street Fighter. So like once that's done and Dogberry wins, and like he has his like closing lines and stuff like that, it goes to like a different type of animation, and then from there, that's going to be kind of like maybe 2D animation. So we're going to have that there. And then our next film after that is called Shakespot, which is going to be a watercolor / like oil painting animation. Very experimental. Like I'm very excited about that one. That's still we're still working on that. And then our last one, which I'm like really, really excited about, is our feature film, and that's going to be the typical 2D animation, and it's called Patty Pizzazz, and it's aimed towards kids and those who are young at heart. It is about a ladybug who decides to take the statement that Shakespeare's for anyone, that includes animals, so she starts her own little animal Shakespeare verse.
Oh. Oh, but that's nice. You're running like the full gambit, which I think
really
adds to the discussion that, you know, I think back when we used to think of like being a kid's thing, cartoons and stuff like that, it was all standard ink and paint. Now there's so many different just ways of making animation that there's something for pretty much all audiences, depending on your own maturity level.
Yeah, definitely. I really like for me, like going forward with animation, like I have other animations I want to do, but this is just like for our first season. I definitely want to explore different types. I eventually want to jump in, but this is like much later, to do like a Japanese animation style for one of the Shakespeare's, like a straight up Shakespeare, and then I want to do a stop motion with like found objects of Romeo and Juliet. So that's gonna be a lot of fun too. So like we're trying to take on we're taking on a lot, but like it's very like we're so motivated for it. We're so excited. We can't wait to share this with you guys. And I can't speak about a lot of the actors, but one of the actors I'm really happy to reunite with is Scott for Patty Pizzazz. So that's like I'm just like really excited to just like jump in on it.
Same, you know. And in this case here, it's been a while since I've done voice work. So I've been looking forward to the opportunity to get back to this. So yes, as soon as you mentioned Patty Pizzazz, I'm like, all right, yep. You know, so thank you for that. I'm grateful. I'm more than grateful.
Yeah, I'm excited to work with you. I know what an amazing talent you are. So it's pretty cool. I'm just like reunion time.
yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of years since you know, a cop car in Nanuet.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I
was in the film, by the way. We're not picked up by police. Let's just clarify that. Yeah.
Which I could talk about this, which I'm really excited. So Patty Pizzazz, I started 2 film companies. I have one here in America, and being a dual citizen, I started one in the UK. So Patty Pizzazz is looking to be under our UK brand. So like crossing fingers, we might pop over to the UK to do, you know, voice acting. So crossing fingers, it would be really cool to be able to take all my actors over there and do that.
Oh my God, please. Oh God, please.
No, right now, like I said, we're jumping into it, so we're just starting. I mean, you know how long it took, like, for us to do our script and everything, get it down, and like, like we're starting to do our funding now, so like that's half the battle of filmmaking is finding funding. Like I was talking to BT about this a while ago. It's like okay, so we got the funding for the beginning of this. Let's continue with our funding. So it's like we got this, but we have to stop for this, and then we have to keep going until we get like our whole budget. So it's like it's crazy, but I think that's the biggest hurdle so far I've had to jump across, which honestly is not a bad thing to have. You know, like going forward, saying like my biggest problem is finding this, which is like a typical thing. You know, like finding funding for a film.
What advice can you give to young animators? Bring money.
Yeah. We'll give you a producer credit. We'll give you an assistant producer credit. But that's cool.
Yeah, but like I said, we're getting there. Like we're applying to grants and we're getting backers and stuff like that. It's just it's gonna happen. It's just like eventually getting there, you know. So it's exciting to see how far we've come. Like we're officially paid off for The Promise, so that's completely paid off. We have some money towards Delphi Romance, so we're halfway there. We're like more than half for Pixar, and then we're working on Patty Pizzazz. So we're gonna get there. Our stuff's gonna be out there, and I'm super excited for it.
Now, another quick question. Obviously, the budgeting and financing is always the most important part of any film, live action or animated. But jumping from the live action realm to the animated realm, what maybe technical difficulties or things you didn't think of before you jumped into this project that you've run into since? Like advice that you would give to someone like, watch out for this because I never saw it coming.
I think my two biggest difficulties that obviously like funding. The second difficulty that I came across is working with a union, a certain U.S. union, because they don't have contracts for short animation. So we had to like create our own contract for it. So it was very tedious. It was very tiring. Just working in general with is very. I'm trying to find selective words for it. It's a process to say the least. But
that's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Now, of course, we can neither confirm nor deny what particular union she may be talking about.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes.
Yes.
Screen something.
Yes.
That was probably, I didn't think I would have. I'd be like, oh, I have a working relationship with them. I did 2 films with them. This is going to be fine. No,
that's completely fine, and we understand it's a real SAG. Drag.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Team America World Police was on the other day, and they parodied that union in there with Alec Baldwin. If you guys know the reference I'm talking about here, yes, I'm personally well aware of the challenges that they're contained therein. And, you have my sympathies on that and everything that's involved there. But I guess my question. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm stealing from Scott. I'm stealing all the questions. Scott, you go.
No. In this case, basically, you mentioned, you answered the question before. What is like the hardest thing? Let's flip that around a little bit. What do you find to actually be the easiest thing about animation?
The easiest thing that's a good question. I think the easiest thing that came from it is probably casting everyone right off the bat, just because I kind of knew who I wanted for each character. So that became a lot easier for me. And it became a lot, I don't know if this is just like my experience with it, but a lot of people are more open to animation than live action or whatever for some reason. They're not as insecure about it, which is really cool. I noticed a lot of my talents they haven't been holding back, which is really great.
Yep.
Now, I know you can't mention any of the names that are going to be part of your film, but
except one, apparently.
Say, because you're talking about like just getting people willing. I've known Chris for a number of years now. She is one of the sweetest, nicest people you'll ever meet. I don't
no
think
bias, no bias.
I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't want to work with Chris.
Thank you so much. I feel the same way about you. Thank you so much.
Now, in this case, the animations that you got right now, there's a general consensus, I think, in the film industry in general to look down upon animation. Like, for example, come Oscar time, for the most part with Oscars, the best animation usually gets put to the wayside, or in some cases, it's not even aired at all. They film it alongside like best sound, best set dressing, and then throw it in a little bit later. With animation in your side of it, what's your take on that? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's unfair?
It's a great question. I think animation has come very far from where it first started, especially in Oscars and BAFTAs. It's getting more recognized, but obviously it's not. I don't think it's where it should be, where it is, but it's getting there. I think that we have the Annie Awards and stuff like that, so it definitely is it's going forward for it, but like I said, there's so much more that they can do. And yeah, it is. I know as a fan of animation, it is very hard to watch. Some get snobbed, especially when knowing how much is put into it, especially going through it now. Like, I mean, as an actor, like, I think this is probably one of the hardest things I had to do because I got to be an actor in one of my films, and obviously I didn't direct myself, so like my assistant director did, and he's like, "Yeah, that's great," and he's like, "I need more of this." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it's very interesting how much I had to put into it, and it definitely, I feel like, made me a better performer for it.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, Chris, I actually have a question. Now, in regards to the acting standpoint in animation, being a voiceover, and considering at least 3/4 of us here on the panel are, actors, what is it you look for when it comes to choosing a voice for a character? I mean, obviously, this is your production, so I imagine you have some say in the casting. So, especially with everyone that goes ahead and has been doing remote voiceover work nowadays since COVID has actually started. Everyone's setting up studios in their room. Hell, we're all talking from our own individual rooms right now. It's not like we have
Mine's
our
in
own
my
studios.
basement.
So what is it that you, as a animation producer, what do you look for in an actor?
I think for me, I look for heart. I look for what I can feel from the person, from their voice, what they're bringing to the character. Mostly, with my casting for Dogberry's Lament, a lot of the actors are not actually actors. They're actually normal day people. I have people who are moms, who are lawyers, who are engineers and stuff like that. So I think for me, it's your heart and how much passion you have behind it, and how you present yourself. I honestly would rather work with someone who is very eager and wants to be there versus someone who is not going to put their whole heart into it. But that's just me as a director. That's how I feel about acting and stuff like that.
So, and actually, I guess Ryan brought up something, and as a broadcast engineer, I'll ask this for the other 1/4 of the panel.
Not to shun you out.
So, and actually, I got intrigued with this. I went to an anime convention last summer where we had the voice actor for Frieza there, and he was actually talking about how he does his voice acting, and mentioned he was just doing it from his bedroom with a microphone. So, just kind of like how we're all kind of doing it right now. Do you have a studio that you have your actors coming to, or are you directing them remotely and they're just kind of doing it either from a remote studio or from their own bedroom like us?
Great question. I am pretty much doing it remotely because of COVID. So like I was just talking about this. So all my cast is all over the world. I have people from here in U.S., in like New York, Georgia, LA. in the UK, in Japan, and even in South America. So it's pretty cool to have so many rich talents at my fingertips to like use. And they are pretty much like doing it from their room. And we're sending it to an audio engineer to scrub if anything in the background, but we haven't come across anything like absolutely horrible. Everyone's takes have been great so far.
Why do I picture that poor sound engineer in his bathtub crying?
Well, it may not be that
I
bad.
see JT possibly having flashbacks from earlier days.
You're right. In this case, I'm guessing you'd probably use something like Source Connect, so everybody can talk to one another remotely, almost like we are right now, but still work like a recording studio.
We've actually used Zoom, and I've actually gave them direction. Like I've actually gave them like written and verbal, where we would call and talk about it, and I would send other people the person that they're speaking to or whatever their lines, so they could feed off of it to see who this person who they're supposed to be talking to, how they sound, because that's huge. We've been good about it with our short films, but with Patty Pizzazz or feature film, that's obviously more. It's going to be more interconnected, and we're actually going to go for a studio for that one, hopefully in the UK. Really excited about it. That's going to be like our first big studio experience, but so far everything's been working out really great and really fine, and it's definitely a learning curve. I'm learning a lot too, so it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. So you're saying there's a chance, as I talk softly into the microphone.
Yes.
This is my audition.
Yes.
Actually, you sound very clear tonight.
Actually, he does. Yeah. Well, see, actually, Ryan, that kind of reminds me of what you did at the end of the Lloyd Kaufman show.
Oh yeah,
the PBS announcement that you made.
That's why I got the box. It wasn't just for the outer audio. It's just so I can onto it like this, get some emotion.
So Ryan,
obviously, Chris can't see it, but trust me, it looks really cool. I'm telling you.
Really honest. So I'm sorry, JT. Go ahead, bud.
No, I was going to ask. I haven't been on with you and the other guys. Have you been auditioning for everyone so far?
I mean, yeah.
If the opportunity exists, listen. Here's the one thing. You never know who's listening to anything. In this particular case, I mean, I could say something completely terrible, and Kristian's like, I am never working with him. Everything I said about Patty Pizzazz, oh my God, no. I will cancel the project and I will move to Antarctica before I work with him again. In this case, like I said, you never know basically, who's auditioning and who's shooting themselves in the foot with something like this. So yeah, no, I mean, Ryan, if somebody's out there picking it up, I mean, you audition for Lloyd that way, sort of, but no, but Kristian, I mean, any other thoughts, anything else, thoughts, ideas, comments, complaints?
No, just really glad to be putting out animation. And I really excited to be doing my first feature. Like that's like going to be such a beast. Like I said, just getting it there. We're up to like our final script, so very soon you're going to have a script set. Really, like I said, really excited about it. Really excited to start pitching big names. Like Channel 4 and stuff over in the UK to see if they'll jump on.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get yourself on 4, possibly do something alongside like Richard Ayoade or something, or Chris O'Dowd. He's in big market right now too. Any of the IT crowd people, essentially. So,
well, Chris O'Dowd has kind of moved over here, hasn't he? I think he's been in more American productions.
He is, but he still works a lot out of there too. Because there's that State of the Union I think he did last year. This year was State of the Union was with that guy that played Mad-Eye Moody from Harry Potter.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah. Brendan Gleeson, yes, thank you. I was gonna say Mad-Eye. That's all I know him as, nothing else. But no, listen. I mean, as far as basically what you've got going on, that's pretty damn awesome. You should be proud of yourself. Your mom proud of you?
I want to say she is. I haven't asked her, so.
Nice. So.
Yeah, no, I'd love to meet the mother that's like, you're doing what? Cartoons? Get out of the house.
Yes. No self-respecting daughter of mine does anything less than drama and theater.
You stand in front of the camera, or you get out of the building.
Some of the stuff you're doing is tied to Shakespeare anyway. I mean, Shakespeare meets Street Fighter. I'm sorry. I thought Lloyd had a weird Shakespeare twist, but I mean, as far as Shakespeare meets Street Fighter, I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we kind of lost you. I think you're away from the microphone.
I'm really gonna want to see that Shakespeare / Street Fighter story. I'm just like envisioning things in my head now. It's like, alas, poor Bison, I knew him well.
Chris, are you?
Hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Chris,
okay.
Can you mention anything about that project you talked to me about the other day, or you still want to keep that under wraps for now? Because that was also an intriguing Shakespeare idea.
Ooh, insider trading. Okay.
He's paying close attention here.
Wait, which one?
The one with the twins.
The twins. I didn't realize you were doing that kind of animation.
The Shakespeare / wrestling project.
Oh, okay. Yes. So pretty much what we're trying to do, like I said, is to reach niches of people that feel that Shakespeare isn't for them, or that they don't belong to the conversation, who never, got Shakespeare, think it's boring, maybe the language intimidates them, maybe they just don't like it, we're trying to show them it can be fun, it can be like different. We're doing our season, our first season, which the first part of it is pure animation, and then with our first feature film, which is Patty Pizzazz, and then we have 2 more feature films after that. One's called Othello, which is our straight up Shakespeare of Othello, but it's going to be LGBTQ friendly. And then our last feature film that we're going to tackle is called, tentatively, like I'm still writing the script for it, it's called Kayfabe, and it's taking Shakespeare, wrestling, and a musical all together. So you're getting a Shakespeare musical. So yes, we went there. We're hoping to hit that group of wrestling fans. I can't go much into the story because I'm still partially writing it. I have like my first draft done, but I'm like super excited to jump into it. It's very the wrestling that we're aiming to hit is independent wrestling, so that's where our main our main storyline is coming from. It's gonna be. We're trying to make it very interesting. We're trying to make it very pleasing for people who obviously are wrestling fans, who are Shakespeare fans, and who love musicals. So that's 3 right there.
So you're going to have songs, you're going to have wrestling Shakespeare songs.
Yeah. Are you ready for it, Scott?
Yeah, that's okay. Listen, I'm just trying to figure out basically because these poor people on this show know that I'm prone to try and make up like song lyrics on the fly, and I cannot do that right now. With this, there's too much material there, and my brain can't process that. To try and come up with something, it's like I can't. I just can't. But yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I don't sing well, but I give just pure energy and adrenaline, into everything I do, as bad as it is when it comes to singing.
I haven't passed it yet. So I'm probably not going to cast it until we get done with Patty Pizzazz, because like I said, I have like a whole season. Like I'll just go over a season since I'm talking about it. So our animation is happening first, and then after our animation, depending on the COVID situation, because we have, like I said, 2 features. We also have 1 stage production called To Hamlet Most Sincerely How, which takes the storylines of Hamlet and Henry V and puts them together and like marries it really well. And it's going to be very interesting. We're hoping to go to the UK for that. And then we have a live action interactive Shakespeare called Villains, where we meet a bunch of Shakespeare villains, and it's going to be done in New York City, where it's going to be interactive, where a group of 12, which is like the jury number, meets outside, and they're met by a bailiff, and the bailiff informs them saying, okay, you're now like the judge and jury of these like villain Shakespeare characters. They have to tell you their side of the story, and you get to pick one person to save, one person to send to hell, pretty much, and the rest of them get to go back in purgatory into their cells. So you get to go around and interact with these people, and while that's happening, there's also the fact that they're in a jail, so we didn't ignore the fact that, you know, this is a jail, people are probably going to shank someone or something like that. So we have stories like that in there. And then at the end, you like walk into like a makeshift like courtroom that's going to be like the lunchroom, and you know, judge comes in, and then you have like a defendant, and then you have a prosecutor, and then each person comes in, each character comes in and says something, and then at the end you have to write down who you want to save and stuff like that. And whoever you save pretty much gets like, you get to take a picture with them, and like you get over, like they come over and they chill with you. Whoever you pretty much, you know, don't save, you get to see them die in a great fashionable way, depending on like their character. And then the people who are like in purgatory get pushed back to their cells. And we're gonna have like little Easter eggs in there too, which is gonna be like really fun. And then our absolute last thing that we're doing for the season is called That's What They Said, and it is a short live action. It's a short live action, and it pretty much like goes into like these two characters that we're introducing in Dogberry's Lament. That's kind of like a critic characters. Like they're kind of like the Muppets, like, you know, the complainers from the Muppets, Statler and Waldorf, like that kind of like feel. And like at the end, because they're going to be throughout our season, they're going to like little Easter eggs in some of our films and some of our live actions. So at the end, they finally get their own film, making fun of our whole season.
Nice. That wasn't half bad. Wasn't half good either.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it feels only right to end the season with them. They're like by far my favorite characters I have come up with for the season. And like the people that I casted for them, they're amazing. They're amazing actors, amazing people in general. So I'm like so excited to get that up and to get going. And then depending on how everything is received and what we get from there, we're going to go on to a second season. And from there, our second season, we're going to go bigger, bolder. So like you can just imagine what we're going to take on next.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. All like I love how you're turning all these different Shakespeare plays into like this modern stuff, and I am really excited. And the wrestling one to, actually the wrestling one in particular, I'm really excited about seeing once you get to that.
It's like you already have his money. It's there.
You take my money.
Well, like once we get closer, if you guys are interested, just let me know. Like I said, I haven't casted for it yet. I'm gonna need a lot of people for that one because we gotta fill in fans and stuff like that. And the fans are gonna have their own song, and we're gonna like have, you know, me being a huge fan, grew up on wrestling. I think, to be honest, that's the one thing my whole family, ironically, all watch it together, and we're all different people. Like my dad did, my mom, my brother, me, my older sister, all different people. One thing that you put on, we'll all sit there and be like, ooh, wrestling's on. Okay, let's watch this. So like growing up on it, we're gonna have like inside jokes on it. Like we're thinking of having a song for, like I said, the fans, where we're gonna bring in, you know, the 5-6 star ratings of Dave Meltzer. So we're gonna have him, you know, like drop his name into it, and you know, like have the different things of like heel and face, and we're gonna hopefully do that fandom proud and well.
I think Dave Metzler is actually up to 7 stars now, so you might have to modify that.
Yeah, so I have a feeling he's going to be up to like 8 stars by the time we get it done, or something, or 7.5, or whatever.
Kenny's back. That match is amazing. 9 stars.
Yeah, like all jokes aside, like just the amount of art that's being put out now with wrestlers. I mean, it's such a great time to be a professional wrestling fan with like our different like places we can watch it. It's great to have the access to it.
So, Chris, thank you very much for joining us today. We're actually about to. We got around 20 minutes left, and we're going to be going into our review of Turning Red. I know you said you didn't see it yet. Did you want to stick around, or did you?
Yeah, I've read about it, but I haven't seen it. But I mean, I would love to hear what you guys think about it. Like, I have my ideas just from reading, the bit about it.
Well, I admittedly, I am at the last 10 minutes of the film, and it was, yeah. I was like racing the clock. I'm like, I'm almost done, but
you watch like 150% speed to get through it.
Like I'm jumping ahead.
That climax though.
You dare ruin that climax for me. I'm literally turning it on after we're done with this show.
Nice.
Look, I'm just saying, as someone who was,
then.
Growing up in that 2000s. I mean, definitely, I was still technically a teenager by the time 2001, 2002 came around, which is when this was set. A lot of it hit really good. I mean, I can't imagine the last time I actually laughed this much at a Pixar movie. Because usually Pixar, it's not about the comedy. It's about like the animation. It's about the storytelling. It's about the emotional drive that it puts. But oh my God, this was funny. This was so funny.
Is it me? I don't know if this is Pixar or just films in general these days. But after a while, I just kind of started seeing the beats. It's like, okay, here you set up the story. Here's the conflict. The conflict's going to calm down, but now it's going to rev up to 10 times the max. And then it's going to be the heartfelt moment. Does that feel like almost every Pixar film these days?
I think most films in general kind of work the same style that way.
And I don't want to necessarily say that Pixar doesn't have a formula. I think after as much success as they have, they've probably gone ahead and said, like, okay, yes, we can still be a little adventurous, but we also know what works. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
I don't know if you can do that really with film, though. I feel like you need to start breaking the mold and becoming more experimental. Otherwise, eventually people are going to get bored. Or in my case, I hate to say it, some stories like that start revving up my anxiety a little bit. So there's points where, like, I know what's coming and I don't want to see it.
But I think also,
fair to say that they did.
I think a lot of. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I think this, if you look at a lot of the reviews that were going on with this movie, I would dare say that this definitely was experimental as far as Pixar is concerned. Storytelling aside, animation-wise, it was far and beyond way different, which Pixar usually likes to stay maybe a little bit closer to, Uncanny Valley and more realistic characters, not Cars withstanding. But this one definitely felt more like a genuine type of cartoon, something you would have seen on Cartoon Network back in its glory days. And it really felt fresh in that sense. And I guess storytelling wise, I know some people have said, oh, it's maybe a niche market that this is marketed to, which I really doubt that, because I don't think any of us have ever had an issue where we didn't have to worry about growing up and becoming an adult and learning about that transitional process. This pretty much speaks to all of that. I wish I turned into a red panda. I think it would be cool. I'm obviously pro-red here, but it's one of those things where I think because they're actually coming at it from different perspectives, even if it's the same story, the fact that the perspective is different, it allows other voices to really just join the conversation. The conversation may have already been there, but now that we can include more people into it simply because we see it through someone else's eyes.
Mm-hmm. And Canada.
I totally agree on that. I feel like Pixar has done a lot towards us, include a lot of different groups to their films, which is really great. And it's becoming more open, which like honestly is really great. Like I didn't get to see it, but like I read it and it kind of I don't know did you guys like watching this? Did you guys think of Teen Wolf at all, or did you guys get that feel? I got that feel from reading it.
Maybe dating some people on that one.
Like 10, 15 minutes into the film, I'm like, this is kind of like Teen Wolf.
Yeah, right. Like it's like the way what it tackles, but like obviously for a girl, you know. But I mean, like it seemed like such a really cute story for it. Like I said, I didn't get to see the whole thing, but like I thought it was really cool having the different generations and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool to bring in it. I thought overall it looked like adorable. So,
you know, I mean, I guess in this case here, I mean, there has been some complaints about, you know, some of the source, I guess. Ryan, I mean, Ryan, you finished the film or no?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, I figured as much. I just wanted to clarify. In your mind, what?
That's why I'm being real careful not to spoil it for JT.
That's fair. Yeah, basically, yeah. Don't tell him what happened. No, just
the mother dies.
There has been some complaints about, you know, from certain groups, and obviously, listen, any press is good press. So sometimes they hype this up a little bit for, you know, for easy press here. But what are the complaints that are going on with this film, and do they have any merit?
What complaints?
There's actually, I got an article sent to me.
I work for a news station, and I'm still clueless.
Let's see.
Well, no, I think you're pretty much mentioning the Cinema Blend review, which Cinema Blend, it's definitely one of the more.
This is Daily Wire.
Okay.
Complaining about the fact that the children in the movie are overly disobedient and rude, plus sexual themes, including a main character twerking as a panda in front of her mother while taunting her, plus multiple instances of the girl rebelling against her overbearing Chinese-Canadian mother to the point of being disrespectful.
Uh-oh.
This is Daily Wire. So,
yeah.
I'm surprised they mentioned like the lesbian budding friendship at one point in the film, but
dude, that at this point that's so mainstream. Does anybody even notice that anymore?
Well, does anyone care that children were twerking in the film? 13-year-olds?
Well, apparently there was some complaints about that. Yeah, you know.
Right, but I think that conversation also blends into the whole idea of, like, not to necessarily step away from animation, but the complaints about Euphoria and what the characters were going on and doing in that show. The fact of the matter is, that's what teenagers do. All right? Regardless of whether or not you want to believe it, that's what they do. So if you're going to have a complaint about what you're seeing on the screen, maybe talk to your kid and ask them, hey, does this really go on? And you might be surprised by the answer.
Art imitates life, life imitates art. Exactly. Chicken and egg kind of thing. Yeah.
Again, that we're talking about a point in all these young people's lives where they are going through that transition where it's no longer about, like, you know, playing with Barbies and more like looking like Barbie. You know, they're trying to find themselves.
Nobody looks like Barbie.
Yeah.
It's just not physically possible.
There's still standards, though. I think that there's still standards on TV and in films and things like that. You gotta at least stand by those standards, I would think. I mean, putting that stuff out there, it's controversial.
But the controversy is good for money.
I mean, in terms of twerking, I think we should have all stopped caring when they made the Powerpuff Girls twerk.
The Powerpuff Girls twerk?
Yeah. They brought back Powerpuff Girls 5-6 years ago, and one of the episodes was Bubbles twerking.
Basically, from my understanding, well, anyway, that reboot.
Yes.
Okay.
But they did.
So it doesn't mean I really count.
Doesn't count, was bad.
So I prefer to pretend that it did not exist, but in this case here, with animation like that, and obviously Pixar, one could easily make the argument that they're top of the food chain when it comes to it because of the sheer amount of work that goes into it on a minute level. I mean, this is going back a bunch of years, but the amount of work that went in on Tully in Monsters, Inc., you know, every single bit of fur was individually done. You know, at assuming 24 frames a second, but let's not make it worse and say it was 50 or 60. The amount of, like I said, the effort that went into something like that. Now it's a little easier with CG to be able to do stuff like that, but it's still a massive undertaking. My God, Soul was beautiful that way.
The original Toy Story, I think, took 3 or 4 years to complete. just because of no one ever did it before. Oh, and what was it? Was it Toy Story or was it another film where someone at Pixar was running a script to clean up because it took so much space to save every bit of video that they would have to consistently clean it up. And someone ran a script to clean up some of the video and accidentally deleted like almost the whole entire film.
Wow.
You don't do RF. If you're familiar with, if anybody's familiar with Unix, you do not run RM/RF.
Yeah, and the only reason they managed to save the film is because one person was working at home and improperly saving it, and because they broke the rules, they saved the film.
Yeah, I think it was. I want to say it was Toy Story 2 that did that.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
I think it was Toy Story 2.
Oh God, and that's like I said. And well, here's the question: how do you delete all of it? I mean, you'd think there would be multiple backups, or this person would be diligent enough. I mean, you put that on 78 RAID servers all over the world, for God's sakes.
As someone who works in the broadcast division of a global media company, you know, when you're doing so many things and you're doing on such a consistent basis, you get tired, you don't think straight, you get used to doing it over and over again. And at one time you do the same thing you've done 50 times, you do it wrong and it costs you big.
Not to scare you, Kristen, at all. You know, hearing all this.
That's why it's good to have like a redundancy type of thing, you know, set up. So
massive redundancy, yeah.
Yeah.
But so we got about 3 minutes left at this point. Kristian, I want to basically turn this over to you real quick. How can people find the stuff that you've done, Riding with Sunshine, you know, get in contact with you as much as as much as you need? I mean, how can people reach out to you if they need to?
Yeah. So Riding with Sunshine and July 15th are on YouTube. You can just, put it in, check it out that way. To get in touch with me, you can always find me on Instagram. I'm CC_Crispy. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. It's kind of hectic.
Nice.
Basically, if you want to get in touch with Kristen, go through Scott first, and then he'll go ahead and relay all the messages.
Listen, if you got any questions, reach out to us. talesofthefilmset@gmail.com. We can figure it out from there too. That's easier too. But yeah, we do have to wrap this up because they got commercials coming in, and commercials make money. And if we run over, we get in all kinds of trouble. So, Kristian, thank you. You have been awesome. This has been, I love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a great time, guys.
I mean, in this case, I'd love to have you back at some point, to actually talk maybe about wrestling too, because we got to go down that road. But yeah, as far as basically this goes, yeah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. JT, thank you also, because you pretty much put all this together. So I appreciate you on that. Ryan, thank you as always, because the one person who actually finished Turning Red. And Mr. Leckington, thank you to you as always. I appreciate every comment that you've had. You're awesome. But yeah, we do have to wrap this up at this point. As again, this is I'm Scott Schertzen. This is Tales from the Film Set. You can find us that way on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Tales from the Film Set, and on Twitter at Film Set Tales. If you need to reach out to me directly, it's talesfromthefilmset@gmail.com. Not that complicated. But any final thoughts from any of the four of you at this point?
I'm good. Everything's good today.
I've left it all on the table.
All right, yes, and a phenomenal job you did. So thank you, like I said, to all four of you guys out there. Thank you to Rebecca for basically being a fantastic, fantastic producer, handling all the things with the captions and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, appreciate all you guys. You rock. So again, this is Tales from the Film Set. And one more time, find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Tales from the Film Set, and also on Twitter at Film Set Tales. For Ms. Kristian Comer, Mr. JT McGuire, Ryan O'Regan, and Mr. Robert Leckington, I'm Scott Schertzen. Have a great night. Be awesome.
Toodaloo.